Here's my prop, look, you see. Singapore national motto, never bet against a Fandi. All right, we've lost one, but we've still got the other. We've got Ikhsan Fandi. He scored his first goal.
Don't forget Irfan in defence, but okay.
Oh, yeah, Irfan. I'm talking about up front.
Up front.
Hello and welcome to a special edition of Footballing Weekly, brought to you by Yahoo, with me, Neil Humphreys.
And me, Chia, Keong. In this episode, in this part, we're going to talk about...
It's a special.
Yeah,
local.
A special tournament, the AFF Mitsubishi Electric Cup, which is coming up this week. So, I mean, wow, right after the World Cup, immediately another major event for South Asia. Are you getting overkill? I tell you what, I am almost getting overkill. How about you?
Well, yeah, I was a bit surprised at the length of it. I mean, it's a long time since I remember the last AFF. Firstly, it doesn't even finish until January the 16th. So it's almost a month long. Sorry, guys, I don't believe a regional ASEAN tournament needs to be as long as the World Cup. Can someone please explain to me how a football tournament that involves the entire planet takes just as long as a football tournament that only involves Southeast Asia?
I tell you why.
Answers on a postcard.
I tell you why. Because it's a home and away thing.
Right.
So you need time to travel.
Right.
To the various countries, even though they are probably 2 hours or 3 hours away.
Yeah.
But... And then there's
most.
a two-legged semi-final, two-legged final. I don't know why you need a two-legged final.
Yeah.
Just play at one-legged at a neutral venue. But they want to spread the wealth around, so you got to drag on until January the 16th.
Okay, I'm asking you now. Does it need to be a month?
No, obviously not. 2 weeks, I think.
Yeah.
When it was held in Singapore, the last edition was held just in Singapore because of COVID restrictions. So it was all in Singapore. It went by in a breeze. I think 3 weeks, 2.5, 3 weeks. It was
just
pretty much done because everybody, you don't need to travel. Just play and you just play one off and that's it. So that was all right. And now it's going to be another long drawn affair. So. Good luck, teams.
Yeah. Just to give you a bit of context, it's the 14th edition of the AFF Championship. It's part of the ASEAN Football Federation. It's had many different names over the years. That's why Tiger
Cup,
Suzuki.
It
probably gets the award for the best name, and I'm being diplomatic here, the AFF Mitsubishi Electric Cup. Now, I'm joking. I say on this podcast many times that local football, regional football needs investment, needs sponsorship. So fair play to Mitsubishi Electric.
Good.
Happy to give you a plug on here. But as you correctly said, it literally starts a day or two after the World Cup has just concluded. It will run concurrently, of course, with all of the other major competitions of the world, which is, in fairness, not important. I mean, your homegrown football should come first. But what do you really think? Should it be this close to the World Cup? Could it have gone a bit later?
It was originally planned for January. There might be a break. Well, I think January might sound more logical because there's a nice break. Everybody can get detoxified first after all the World Cup, 1 month of World Cup. Get back to your normal sleeping patterns, and then you throw your support onto this new one. Yeah, give everybody a break. But they pushed the event, the competition, forward until December, and this has caused a lot of disruption, not only just for fans who are still recovering from the World Cup.
Yeah.
For example, Singapore, because it was pushed forward, they couldn't hold their home matches at the National Stadium because they have a prior commitment to a music concert at the stadium, and then they couldn't get the pitch recovered on time.
Yeah.
So they have to play at Jalan Besar Stadium, which there's another can of worms which we'll talk about later.
Yeah.
Moreover, champions Thailand, defending champions, they couldn't get their top players available for this. Chanathip Songkrasin, he's not playing. He's not playing at this because he plays in the J-League, and the J-League doesn't release him for this kind of tournaments.
And Suachat as well.
Suachat. So you got to rely on a 36-year-old striker, albeit the all-time top scorer of the tournament, Terasik Dangbil.
Yeah.
But you want to see the big players at this tournament, which is already considered a pretty minor regional tournament.
Yeah.
And then you still want to, not those players are unavailable. How are you gonna get a crowd?
I couldn't agree more. I could not agree more. I have a huge soft spot for this tournament.
No,
I do.
so
All
do I.
cynicism aside, one of my earliest memories is Tiger Cup 1998. I've said this many, many times. It was the first time I heard a massive roar inside my HDB block in Toa Payoh when Sasi Kumar scored in the final.
Blade of God.
Yeah, it was the first time I felt a real communal football experience that was local and authentic. So I'm happy to champion this tournament. But as you rightly say, unfortunately, some matters beyond its control, some are not. These elements make this tournament look a little bit parochial and a little bit wishy-washy, Mickey Mousey. Firstly, FIFA doesn't recognise the tournament. When FIFA doesn't recognise your tournament, what does that mean? It means domestic leagues are not suspended, as you pointed out. So the Thais are still going to play. All of the regional leagues are going to play. The Japanese league is still going to play. That already undermines the credibility of the tournament. It reduces the quality of the tournament. That's point number one. Point number two, because FIFA doesn't recognise it so much, it's butted up against the World Cup, right? Yeah. And then it gets squashed in this tiny frame, this time frame between December and January, which inconveniences everybody. And as you rightly say, you want people to come to the stadium. They have just spent 4 weeks watching Messi and Mbappe and all of the other greats, and now they're going to get second-tier footballers from their region because of the timing.
Yeah, and then all of us recovering from all the midnight exertions.
Yeah,
and then for what? The FIFA, I mean, the AFF tournament, as good as we have soft spot for them. FIFA doesn't think so. I mean, they give very little FIFA points.
Well, we couldn't even find it, could we?
Yeah,
I mean, full disclosure, if you're listening to this, I would love to know. Both Keong and I, we went looking online, how many FIFA ranking points are awarded, if any. There are some websites that say none. There are some websites that said they did it at 2016 and then they either stopped doing it or kept doing it. There are other websites that say they get fewer ranking points than a FIFA friendly.
Yep.
Which undermines the tournament, Keong, again.
Exactly.
You know?
I mean, it's fair. To be fair, every kind of Asian regional, there are many regional tournaments.
Yeah,
they have
course.
the Middle East tournament. They have the Japan and Korea. Then they have their own private regional tournaments. But I think if you really want a regional tournament to grow, you need to give them space. You cannot cram them into, especially this period when the EPL matches are coming in every day during the holiday season.
Best players cannot play.
Best players cannot play. That's the biggest issue.
You want your best players.
Yeah.
You want your best regional players on show because they don't qualify for the World Cup. They don't qualify for the major Asian tournaments. Yeah. So for the region like Singapore, Southeast Asia, this is our showcase. And if it's our showcase, you want the best players on show.
Absolutely.
But because of the scheduling, because of FIFA not recognising the tournament, you're going to have a regional tournament that doesn't have the best players from the region. Bottom line. And they need to fix that. I don't know how, but they need to fix that. Which brings us on nicely to point number 2. Is the Jalan Besar Stadium artificial pitch bad for players, bad for knees, causing too many injuries?
So the context is the Lions played a friendly just last weekend. They played a friendly at the Jalan Besar Stadium against the Maldives.
Yep.
So, okay, warm up. Obviously, you need a game. You need a friendly. But during that game, 2 players went down injured. One is a key player, Ikhsan Fandi, our top striker. And one is a pretty key midfielder, Adam Swandi. And both will miss the tournament. Both will miss the tournament because they suffered serious knee injuries on that pitch. So Jalan Besar, in case you guys don't know, is one of the few Singapore stadiums with an artificial pitch.
Correct.
So artificial pitch, it has its uses, it has its benefits. You do not need to keep maintaining that. You spend so much money to maintain it.
Especially for our climate.
Yeah, especially for our climate. Keeps on raining, it gets muddy, you need to returf it. But artificial pitch, the water will drain away. It makes it easier for them to maintain, more efficient. So there are good points, but there are bad points also. A lot of research has found that players, when perennially playing on the artificial pitch, get injured easily.
Of course,
especially
it's
with
a harder surface.
On their knees. But so because we cannot play on the national stadium, we have to play at Jalan Besar Stadium, which is the next biggest stadium at 6,000, which also has some issues. We need another mid-sized stadium, maybe about 20,000. But that's another issue altogether.
I agree.
But so Jalan Besar Stadium, we have to play against Myanmar. We got to play against Vietnam next week. It's going to be an issue, the artificial pitch.
Yeah. Again, I agree. This is another reason for the armchair critic warrior to go, another heck care tournament, right? Because it's a confluence of factors where not necessarily FAS is at fault or anything, but it comes back to that lack of organisation again. Number one, right? It was supposed to play in January, correct? They pulled the thing back in December, which means the National Stadium is booked. In fairness to FAS, they originally had it worked out to play in January, correct? Then they've got a Jay Chow concert.
So ironically, had the National Stadium been an artificial pitch, we might have played it on the National Stadium, but it is not. It's
and then we'd have even more injuries.
Yeah.
So we've got Jay Chow superseding the Lions in a tournament they are hosting or co-hosting. So that's number one. That's embarrassing, number one. Number two, the rules of the AFF tournament, as I understand it, is you have to play all of the group matches in the same stadium, right? So they play the first one as a host, right? So they play the first one in, who is it? It's Myanmar, right?
Myanmar, yeah.
And then therefore they can't go from the national...
No, they can't. They have to play the...
Correct. They have to play the first game and the second game in the Jalan Besar.
To make it fair for the opponents.
Correct. Yeah. Which is hard surface. It's a terrible service on these. You say research. I'll give you anecdotal research, right? The number of ex-players, I'm not naming them, both local and international, Liverpool legends, Manchester United legends. I'll name one because he said it many times publicly, Paul Parker, right? Manchester United, England legend, who hate playing on artificial surfaces. If they're current pros, of course they're not going to say that, right? They've got to protect their rice bowl.
Many players have always mentioned it.
It's hard on the knees. It's hard on the joints. It's hard on running. You can't control the ball properly. It's very hard to judge the bounce. They don't like playing on it. It's too risky for injuries. I have a personal issue on it. 1990 League Cup semi-final, West Ham against Oldham. West Ham lost 6-0. Do you know why? Because it was an artificial surface. You remember Oldham?
Yeah.
They used to have an artificial surface and there would always be freak results.
Yep.
Because West Ham couldn't play with...
I remember Luton Town also.
Another one, Luton and Oldham.
Yeah.
Those were the two.
Yeah.
They used to get really long cup runs because big sides would come to the artificial pitch.
Couldn't get used to it.
Can't control the bounce. Can't wait to pass properly. It's a completely different playing experience.
Yep.
It's such a loss. It's such a loss. You look at Fandi, I was just looking at his figures here.
Ikhsan.
17 goals in 33 international appearances. He's the main goal source. The other 6 forwards have just got 15 goals between them. So he's outscoring basically his whole team.
Big blow.
Yeah.
And so we get back to the final point. What are the Lions' chances in this this tournament? For me, I think it's going to be tough for them to get into the semi-finals like the last tournament. The last tournament, you remember, they get into the semi-finals, they are beaten by Indonesia. But, they sort of like got their Kalang Raw back because they battled really hard against the Indonesians. This time, actually I thought they might have a chance to qualify as runners-up to Vietnam because I think they might be able to beat Malaysia with Ikhsan. And now Ikhsan is injured. It's going to be tough. I know the new coach, Nishigaya, also didn't have much bidding time as Yoshida, the previous coach, because Yoshida had about 1 or 2 years of preparations before he went into the previous competition. This one, he just barely signed on in April. I don't know how much he has made the team improve. So I'm not sure. And coupled with the Ikhsan's injury, it's going to be tough for Lions to make it to the semi-finals. I do hope Ikhsan Fandi, Ikhsan's brother, could have a breakout tournament. That if he has, there might be a chance, but it's going to be tough.
There you go. You said it right there. Look, here's my prop. Look, you see. Singapore national motto, never bet against a Fandi. All right? We've lost one. But we still got the other. We've got Ikhsan Fandi. He scored his first goal.
Don't forget Irfan in defense, but okay.
Oh, yeah, Irfan. I'm talking about up front.
Up front.
Ikhsan scored his first goal, didn't he? Against the Maldives.
Yep.
So he's got his first goal. He's just got a fantastic deal to Belgium. Right? Playing for a league
second division
side
football.
in second division, that's right, in Belgium. He scored 20-something goals last year,
Young
was it?
player of the year.
Yeah, 20 goals last year for Alberex. Don't bet against the Fandis, all right?
Correct.
If there's anything about this show, we don't bet against the Fandis. So I'm hoping Ikhsan has a good tournament. I like the wing backs they've got. Is it Van Huysen? Good player. The other young lad, Ryan Stewart. So they've got two good wing backs. Ikhsan at the back, Ikhsan up front. It's the time for giving. It's the festive season. We've never bet against the Fandi. Let's say
Prove us wrong.
They'll get to the semi-finals. I'm going to predict semi-finals. Okay. And then after that, it's all up to Ikhsan. What do you think?
I'm going to say they're going to struggle to enter the semi-finals. Prove me wrong. Prove me wrong, please.
Prove me wrong. And do not bet against the Fandis, all right? And in the meantime, build Fandi Ahmad statue. But let us know what you all think. Send all of your predictions for the AFF Championship to
Yahoo Southeast Asia on YouTube, Yahoo SG, Yahoo_MY on Twitter, and Yahoo SEA on TikTok. And remember to catch the matches live. I think it's on Me Watch, if I'm not wrong. All the matches will be live.
Yeah. Go Singapore.
Go Singapore.
Go Fandi.
See ya.